It's about a 1958 housewife from the Upper West Side. Very nice life she loves, and that life suddenly, unexpectedly gets pulled out from under her, and she finds herself drawn into the 1950s coffee house comedy scene.
It's been a great experience for us because we got to do what we promised that we would do. We were kind of unfettered. And we just, they just gave us all the resources we needed to bring 1958 New York City alive on the streets, which takes a lot.
It's a very hard part. It's a lot of stuff went into it. We needed a supreme actress with unbelievable, unshakable confidence and vivacity, and a face that is you never get tired of looking at.
And a capacity to say a lot of words quickly.
And you had to believe she could be a stand-up comic. So other than the fact that it was an impossible part to cast, it was difficult, and yet we got very, very lucky when the delightful and effervescent Rachel Brosnahan kind of burst into our office and read multiple scenes and then basically just walked out with the part. Mic dropped, out.
When I read the script, I was attracted to it immediately. It's funny, it's witty, it made me laugh out loud, and that's so rare these days. So I knew I wanted to be a part of it pretty much right at the get-go. It takes place in the 50s, and just being on a set where you're surrounded by these old cars, and you get to wear the old costumes and the hair, and the sets are incredible. So just everything about that period was really amazing, and definitely came to life.
I think one of the biggest things that drew me to Midge is that I realized as I was reading this how few unapologetically confident women I read, and I've never played one. So that felt important to me and kind of radical in a way that I feel like it shouldn't anymore, but it's been a real pleasure and a joy to bring to life. With people like Tony Shalhoub and Alex Borstein around, every day is some new hilarious thing that keeps us laughing, keeps us peeing our pants. It's good. It's been extraordinary. I mean, Donna, Bill Groom, everyone involved with this project, I feel like, is at the top of their game, and we're so lucky to have them lend their talents to us. The costumes, I don't know how much you know about it, but they've been made from scratch. Every single one of them, every single one of Midge's costumes has been made from scratch. Amy has a crystal clear vision, and she runs a tight ship, and that's something that has been it's been useful, helpful, inspiring on every level. I have loved every single minute of being a part of this show, and it's nice to have somebody as confident as Amy at the helm. I think the thing about this show is if we've done our job correctly, audiences will both feel like they can tell how far we've come so far, and also how far we've not come, and how a lot of the themes and the issues that we're still dealing with on the show, particularly as they pertain to women, are still things that we're talking about today, still battles that we're fighting today. And I think that's what makes it feel relevant and should speak to our modern audience.
The backdrop of New York as sort of its own character, you'd kind of enter the streets and have all of the crazy hustle bustle and some of the nuttiness of New York, and it would hit you and you kind of didn't have to act because it just makes you feel a bit sparkly, and you don't have to imagine it just kind of is. After doing a lot of contemporary work, I was thrilled and wanted to embrace the idea of traveling through time. As an actor, we love to do that, and so as soon as I saw that Amy and Dan were attached to this, I was a huge fan of Gilmore Girls, Bunheads, all the rest, and so called the agent, found out there were auditions, put on a robe, donned fancy hair, knew I was going to be a little larger than life, and I entered. I think the character of Midge, who's my daughter, played by Rachel Brosnahan, is extraordinary. She's in terms of timeliness and what's in the zeitgeist, it's a woman dealing with a man's world and a stand-up comic that's sort of hiding from the mores of her time and bouncing up against a resistance of what other people maybe want her to be versus what she wants to be. And let's face it, that's what a lot of women right now are dealing with. And I think that she's going to have to buck up against the system and rise, which is something that Rachel's going to be extraordinary at. Wait till you see her. She's amazing. I feel amazingly lucky. Bill Groom, Don Okowski, they're sort of the top of their fields, and the idea that we got to be clothed and put in front of their sets and their designs, it just sort of made it all happen.
You know what I think is so great? The timing of this show coming out right now. It's for optimists. It's these little ants trying to move a rubber tree plant, and there's a lot of dark stuff in the world right now, and people are divided. And this is just a breath of fresh air. It's you're rooting for this girl and these people, and I don't know. It's nostalgic. It's theatrical. It feels like a musical without the music, and it's upbeat and optimistic. Really, it's the people. The Palladinos, AMY SHERMAN-PALLADINO, and Rachel, and Michael, and Marin, and Tony. It's all a bunch of grown-ups. There's no nonsense. There's no attitude. There's no ego. There's no one's late. Everyone's prepared. It's a pleasure. You know what my favorite thing about Susie is? That she gets to wear flat shoes. It's the 1950s. She doesn't have a girdle on. Don't have to have my hair done. When I got the part, I literally begged. I'm like, can I just wear a hat so I don't have to do... I love how comfortable she is. And I mean that jokingly, but also there's something to a woman not teetering on heels and being grounded that makes you feel very strong and immovable. And that's one of my favorite things about Susie.